Namaskar. Welcome to our channel Bio by Gulab Sir for Wisdom Coaching Center. As a part of series of lectures, today's topic is cardiac cycle. We learn about anatomy of heart. We learn about that every and each part and its function. Now let us understand functional anatomy, that means how heart works. It's very interesting to know about how heart pump blood, and that too it works right from birth to death. That means you can understand that strength and potential within the heart to work for us right from our birth to death. In fact, when zygote is formed in the first month itself, first month of development of fetus itself, heart is completely or fully developed to continue to have the functions, and that is the miracle within the body. That from the first month of development of fetus, heart begin to work and it continue to work till death. That is what heart serves to us, and therefore we have very high gratitude for our heart that is a lifeline for us. Cardiac cycle is one time receiving and pumping of blood, one heartbeat. That's what we have to learn how it happens. We have these two auricles and two ventricles. Auricles are separated by auriculoventricular wall and ventricle is separated by interventricular septum. Now these occur in phases, that auricular diastole. Beginning of cardiac cycle is auricular diastole. That means auricles are in a relaxed stage. When auricles are in a relaxed stage, this is superior vena cava and this is inferior vena cava. That in auricular diastole stage, that blood is pumped or received into auricles, because auricles are in a relaxed stage. Wave of contraction by SA node is not still produced, and AV auricles are in relaxed stage to receive impure blood, that is deoxygenated blood into the right auricle and oxygenated blood into the left auricle. This is called auricular diastole. It lasts for that what it received, and now when it contract, that auricles contract, that is called auricular systole. When auricular contracts, that is called auricular systole. That is called action potential, depolarized stage. Depolarized stage. Depolarized condition. It lasts for 0.3 seconds, that already we learned. By the time this AV wall get open and blood is pumped from auricle to ventricle, right ventricle and left ventricle. By that time, what is there? Ventricular diastole. Ventricular diastole. That means ventricles are relaxed. So they receive the blood. Auricles are contracted and they increase that pumping of blood 30% more from auricle to ventricle. That is written as a statement in book to remember for the point of NEET. So when blood is received into ventricle fully, ventricles are full. By that time, ventricles begin to contract. That means ventricular systole. Ventricular systole, that phase begins to contract and pump blood through aorta and pulmonary artery. Deoxygenated blood from right ventricle through pulmonary artery to the lungs and aorta to all parts of the body. Left ventricle pump pure blood through aorta to all parts of the body. That is called ventricular systole. It lasts for 0.3 seconds. Now, when ventricle begin to contract, this AV wall get closed, that is bicuspid and tricuspid wall get closed and produce first sound to prevent the backflow of blood from ventricle to auricle. Once again, when ventricle contract, AV wall, this bicuspid and tricuspid wall, this is bicuspid wall and this is tricuspid wall. Both wall get closed to prevent the backflow of blood from ventricle to auricle and produce first sound called lub. So first sound called love. By the time when blood is pumped into aorta and artery, left ventricle contact to pump blood through aorta to all parts of the body, and right ventricle contract and pump blood through pulmonary artery to lungs for purification. Now they begin to relax. That is called again ventricular diastole. When they begin to relax, these semilunar walls, see, semilunar walls are shown by this another color, blue color. These are semilunar walls. Semilunar walls. These semilunar walls get closed to prevent the backflow of blood from aorta and artery to ventricle and produce second sound. So first sound is produced by the closure of AV wall, auriculoventricular wall, and second sound is produced by the closure of semilunar wall. So that is dub. The first sound produced by closing of AV walls, that are bicuspid and tricuspid walls, and second sound is produced by closing of semilunar walls. To prevent the backflow of blood from aorta and artery to left ventricles by the time blood is pumped. So see, these auricles were relaxed to receive the blood, and that time ventricles were in contracted stage. Now when auricle begin to contract, ventricle begin to relax, so they receive the blood. After receiving blood into the ventricle, now ventricle begin to contract and auricle begin to relax to receive the blood, so ventricle begin to contract. By that time this AV wall, that is called bicuspid and tricuspid wall, get closed to prevent the backflow of blood from ventricle to auricle and produce the first sound called love. So blood is pumped through aorta and artery to body and lungs. Now ventricular diastoles, that begin to relax. When it begin to relax, that semilunar wall get closed and produce second sound called dub to prevent the backflow from aorta and artery, and thus one cardiac cycle is completed as auricles already in relaxed to receive the blood. So by that time ventricles are in relaxed stage, auricle and ventricle together they are relaxed stage, that is called joint diastole. So joint diastole is that auricle and ventricle together they are relaxed stage. It lasts for 0.4 second altogether. That cardiac cycle is completed into 0.8 second. It is very clearly shown in this diagram here. See, when auricle contract, they pump blood into, when auricle contract, they pump blood respectively into ventricles. So blood receive into ventricle, that is called auricular systole. Now ventricles are filled with blood, auricles are contracted state, ventricles are relaxed, that is auricular systole for 0.3 second. In this condition it is auricular systole. Now ventricles were relaxed stage, so they receive the blood. Now ventricular systole begin. Here ventricular systole begin. Ventricular systole has begun and blood started to pump from left ventricle to aorta and right ventricle to pulmonary artery to the lungs. So by that time this AV node, SNAV, auriculoventricular wall, AV wall, bicuspid and tricuspid wall, they get closed to prevent the backflow of blood from ventricle to auricle and produce first sound called lub. Now ventricles they contracted, they pump blood into aorta and artery to all sorts of the body. By that time auricles were relaxed. Here auricles are relaxed, auricles were relaxed, and ventricle also begin to relax. By that time auricle and ventricle together they are relaxed. Together auricle and ventricles are in relaxed stage. This is known as joint diastole, and this lasts for 0.4 second. Ventricular systole is last for 0.3 second, and auricular contraction, that is auricular systole, that is for 0.1 second. So here 0.1, 0.3 and 0.4 second, here that cycle is completed, because once again these auricles begin to contract, that is called second cycle, to contract and pump blood into ventricle as shown here, and thereby the cardiac cycle is completed. That is what I did try to explain through this diagram, that what you did understand. Now once again to repeat that to understand, auricular systole is the beginning of cardiac cycle to pump the blood from auricles to ventricle. When that blood is completely pumped, auricle begin to relax and ventricle begin to contract. So second is ventricular systole. Ventricular systole to contract and pump the blood from respective ventricle to aorta and pulmonary artery, aorta to all parts of the body and pulmonary artery to the lungs, thereby ventricle get vacated and now they remain in a relaxed stage. By that time auricles are also relaxed. So both auricles and ventricles together they are relaxed. When auricles and ventricles together relaxed, this is known as joint diastole, and that lasts for 0.4 second. Auricular systole lasts for 0.1 second. Ventricular systole lasts for 0.3 second and joint diastole for 0.4 second. Thus one cardiac cycle, that is receiving and pumping of blood, what we learn as a cardiac cycle, is completed in 0.8 second. In one heartbeat, in one stroke, that is with one's contraction of ventricle, with ventricular contraction or ventricular systole, that volume of blood which pumped is 70 ml per beat. That per beat is called stroke volume. Now we have 72 heartbeat per minute. Therefore that cardiac output, so cardiac output is equal to number of heartbeat into volume or stroke volume into stroke volume. That is number of heartbeat 72, stroke volume 70, it comes to 5040 ml per minute. So stroke volume is 5000 ml per minute. So we did understand this cardiac cycle, how auricular systole and ventricular systole as well as joint diastole together help to have this simultaneous contraction and relaxation to receive and pump the blood to have the one cardiac cycle, also known as one heartbeat. I hope you did understand this cardiac cycle through this explanation given by me with this diagram, and that diagram available in the form of this cardiac cycle. You can refer this diagram to have the best understanding by the time when you study what I am explaining from NEET. I hope you did understand. Even if you are in doubt, you can ask in comment section. I appeal you subscribe our channel and like it. Also press bell icon to receive new videos as and when they are uploaded. Thank you.